You can save every day by shopping at Whole Foods Market. Seriously, don't just go for the big sales. They have literally thousands of low-price goods with their house brand, 365 by Whole Foods Market. While at happy prices, limited-time seasonal flavors, and all the quality you expect, like no high fructose corn syrup or over 300 other ingredients banned from all the food they sell. There's so many ways to save at Whole Foods Market. Now you know.
Are you ready?
Starting now?
Well, now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
You know, but
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And I'm not even going to say it this time because I know nobody pays attention to my posts on Instagram, but we do have a guest. We have a gentleman by the name of John, and he's from a website and Instagram page and also a podcast called Sober Speak. And we'll let him introduce himself real quickly here, and then we'll kind of get into what we're going to talk about tonight. But John, go ahead and just introduce yourself real quick.
Sure. My name is John M. I live in the Frisco, Texas area, which is right outside of Dallas. I have a website and a podcast, as mentioned there, called Sober Speak, and I am tickled pink to be here. By the way, who is Fuck Knuckle? Is that?
That's me. I'm Mike.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, and it's funny. Not everyone notices that right away, and sometimes it's been what, Mike, halfway through the episode, and someone's like,
somebody will glance over and go, "Fuck Knuckle."
Yeah, Mike. God, when did you start doing that? A few months?
I don't know. Yeah, a year or so ago. Something.
Oh yeah,
it's been a while. Right. I think I was fuckhead for a long time, and then I changed it to Fuck Knuckle.
So quick side note. When I do our transcripts, Mike, I don't even know if I ever told you this, but in a Word document, you can say search for one, replace with the other. So just so it's got our names on there, every time I do the transcripts, I do a Word document. I search for the word fuck knuckle and replace it all with the word Mike. so when it says Bill Mike, then just so I figure it's going to pick it up hopefully in a Google search better than fuck knuckle. So
maybe
yeah. Well,
so
yeah,
is that a nickname that came from anything in particular, or
No, I'm just, I'm trying to run an honest program, and I am a fuck knuckle. So there you go.
There you go.
So
I gotta tell you, it is cool to be doing a podcast with people who podcast. Just in
Right.
other words, I mean, you guys kind of know the routine. I know what you're, in essence, what you're doing in the background, and it's cool because there's a lot of work that goes into these things. I'm sure you guys know that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that when we started and it was bare bones, we had no idea what we're doing. We know a little bit more now. We tried out and had troubles with different software and stuff like that, but we've gotten to the point where we do as little as possible to make sure we can get out the best quality product. And it doesn't take me that long to put an episode together without having to, like I said, when we don't polish it up, we don't edit out things. There's there's a whatever, there's a glitch. It doesn't fucking matter. We keep it in there. So it's I don't know. It's a little bit easier that way, but yeah, I mean, we've been on other podcasts, probably a handful, right, Mike?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about half a dozen.
Yeah, and it's fun, and we've had plenty of guests on. We don't have guests on all the time, but with you in particular, and the way this came about, just so everyone knows, this is actually good. Well, Mike and I are affiliated with the Sober Curator. We've talked about that plenty of times. If you don't
Yeah.
follow him,
So, and you mind if I ask her, like, what is your relationship with the sober curator? I know that Elise kind of got us in contact with each other. How does that work?
Well, the way that we got started with them was on a whim, and it just actually came up in a memory over the last couple of days. Elise, the Sober Curator, is a sober website. It's all about sobriety stuff. People who have been sober, not necessarily brand new, but they get traffic from everyone. But it's all about living a sober life and a sober lifestyle. They've got everything from horoscopes to fashion to podcasts to what you're going to be featured on, which is called their Sober Spotlight. People doing good things out there in the recovery community. And Elise had posted something literally a year ago and was featuring all these different podcasts that were male led podcasts, and we were not on that list. so so I posted on Instagram and basically said, what the fuck? We're not only male led, we've got two males leading this ship. Whose leg do we have to hump to get on this list? And I tagged her and on Instagram, and that's how our relationship started with her. And it was fun. Elise is she's a good shit. We adore her, and we became what's called sober curators, and all it is, it's a volunteer thing. We submit articles, we submit content, podcasts,
Mm.
that sort of thing, and that's how we got involved in it. But Elise is always out there, looking for things and looking for people. And however you came across it, there's a thing on their website, which again, what I was getting to is it's called the Sober Spotlight, which is what they're going to do with this episode. So they're going to Elise is going to take this episode. Obviously, you have whatever you talk about. Obviously, I'm guessing it's going to be a little bit of your story, what you do for the community now, your podcast, your website, and then that gives content for the Sober Curator to get that out to people in the recovery community. So they do a lot of good work over there, and there's a lot of good people, and we've had fun with it so far.
That's great, and I'm sure you've been over this many times. By the way, I have listened to several episodes. I'm hoping to become your next Gary, if at all possible. But nonetheless, I am curious about you guys, and sober and not mature. How did this start for you guys?
By accident, right, Mike?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Bill started listening to a bunch of sober podcasts, and he basically said, well, hell, we could do that. And so we did. It's a short answer, but it's the true answer. We just we had Bill had a hole, I will say, for lack of a better term, in his recovery. Not really, but he just wanted to add something more to it, and it was a chance for us to get together every week and talk, which we didn't do as much as we had, and so we started doing this thing, and 2 years later, we're still knocking them out once a week.
Yeah, and so I understand what it's like to like build a website and all that stuff. You guys have a great website, by the way. And I mean, who keeps up all that? Do you do it together, or do you hire out, or how does that work?
That's
No,
all Bill.
everything we do, and I mean, Mike always says that. I mean, it is
Uh,
me, like with the hands-on type of work, but everything that we do, with very few exceptions, we collaborate together, we make decisions on all this stuff.
right.
In the website, we actually put together, the two of us did. He was up in Wisconsin, and we were like, yeah, let's do this sort of thing. And I don't mind plugging them because they've been wonderful to us. It's a company and a website provider called PodPage. So POD page,
Hmm.
and they strictly design and have this. It's basically an out of the box website package for podcasters. So I mean, we had to choose the colors, we added the pictures, all the background
Right.
pictures on the pages. Mike and I sat down while you were there, Mike, I think,
Yeah. Yeah.
and picked out all those pictures, and then they've got all these different things linked to your store. They get episode things, they get the media player. Everything else is basically plug and play with that. And there's nothing to maintain. The only thing I really have to maintain, if I call it that, is making sure our episode loads every week, which it usually does it automatically. Sometimes I have to click a button to refresh. But other than that, I mean, I don't have to do anything with it. It's nothing to for us to do it. And Instagram and Facebook cause us, far more work than that web page. The web page itself is self sufficient.
How about that?
Yeah.
And fuck knuckle, you live in Wisconsin, is that right?
No, I'm in Cleveland.
Oh,
Right.
were you in Wisconsin? Is that what he just said there?
No,
At one
Bill's in Wisconsin, or Bill was in Wisconsin. Now he's traveling the world.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
I lived in Wisconsin for probably longer than I'd like to admit. I think combined probably 35 years,
Oh
something like
wow.
that. And no, Mike was up visiting. He was the first time he came up and
Oh,
visited. Then he was up
visiting.
there a second or third time. I think you've been up to that area 3 times, including the
Yeah,
Harley thing that we went to.
right.
But basically, the short story with that, I went down to Indiana when our mom was ill, and I was down there for a couple years, and then I started traveling around and doing Airbnb stuff. I happen to be in Wisconsin this week. I'm in Oshkosh, but just for the week, so I can hang with my kids for Father's Day and stuff like that. But
Oh, yeah, I
um,
used to live in Waukesha. That's the
yeah,
reason
I
I
lived
asked.
in I lived in Waukesha for a number of years. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people in recovery up there. And Mike, you live in Cleveland. I just have to ask you this question. Have you ever been to the I think it's called the Newberg group? Is that what it's called?
Yes, I have.
Oh man, I went there once, Mike, and it was I mean, I loved it. It was just, an experience. I don't think I could go like, every week.
No,
It's a little too intense for me, but
it's right. Yeah, it's the
explain to
epitome
people
of
what it's
Cleveland
like.
AA. Right. Yeah, well, it's like 2.5 hours long. It's an insane meeting. I've been there a couple of times. I haven't been in a long time. It's over on the east side, and I don't go over there much. My passport's expired.
And did you know Milt Loring by any chance?
No, don't know that one.
No.
Okay, he was a circuit speaker for a long, long time, and once I was up there, and he was part of the Newberg group, and I ended up going over to his house for a meeting that he had there. It was just kind of like a one-off meeting they have, and
Hmm.
anyway, but he was a circuit speaker in AA for a long time. So
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, and I mean, I got sober out in Cleveland. I was out there. Well, I was born out in that area, and then back and forth a couple of different times. But got sober out there and spent 3 years and a few months, and moved back to Wisconsin. And Mike's been around the Cleveland area for a number of years. Obviously, all of his sober years. But
Mhm.
we were just in Cleveland last weekend for Founders Day. So
yes,
Cleveland's good. Cleveland AA. We say it all the time. There's nothing like it. Nothing like it
Right.
at all.
yeah, one of a kind.
Exactly. So, but yeah, kind of back to everything there. So, obviously John's coming on to tell a little bit about, what he does and all those sort of things. And like I said, the Sober Curator, it's going to be on there too. And I'll have links to the Sober Curator website. I'll have links to John's website. I already have that in the episode description. So you want to make sure, visit John's website, visit the Sober Curator. But, most importantly, obviously, we'll quiet down here and let John speak. But Mike, tell them how we do things around here.
Well, basically, John, you've been to Cleveland AA. You know what it's like. We know how to get fucked up. We know how to fuck up our lives and fuck up the lives of everybody around us. What we're
Mhm.
interested in is the solution. So do a little qualifying. Tell us where you're from, where you've been, all that good stuff. But we definitely don't need to hear a drunk-a-log because we know how to do that already. We want to know how to get sober and stay sober.
I understand. So, well, I don't know. I guess your experience, strength, and hope. I don't know if I could tell anybody how to stay sober, but I know what you mean. I always say that uh, in terms of Alcoholics Anonymous, we are like angels with one wing. The only way we can fly to is to embrace each other. And by the grace of God, and I truly mean that, I have been sober one day at a time now, including weekends, since May 29th of 1989.
Nice.
God's been good to me. And I often wonder many, many times, why God reached out and picked me up by the scruff of the neck. And he has kept me sober. I don't think I'm like the best at I don't think I'm like a role model. I've made every mistake that you can possibly make in Alcoholics Anonymous, but by God's grace, I am still here. And so, why, there was a guy when I was drunk one night before I got sober, and I called him up. Uh, and this was the Dallas Inner Group. And I called up the Dallas Inner Group, and The gentleman picked up the phone. All I can remember from the conversation, we probably talked for a half hour. I was three sheets to the wind, and for some reason, I knew to call Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm still not exactly sure how. And this was back in the days, where you had to pick up the phone, actually dial it, and all that kind of stuff. And so he answered the phone, and the one thing I remember that gentleman saying to me is, the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. And I'm glad that he did not say the only requirement for membership is that you come in and make a searching and fearless moral inventory of yourself. And then you may go out and make direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure you or others, So he was easy on me. That's the only thing. Now, unfortunately, it's not like I got in the next day, and I finally got into Alcoholics Anonymous in 1986. But it took me until 1989 to get sober. I kept coming in and out, picking up Desire chips. The last time I got a Desire chip, I just, one of the last times I got a Desire chip, I just threw all of those Desire chips in. We call them, I think y'all call them white chips or something up there. But I took those chips and I threw them all in the trash. And then I went back to another meeting, like, I don't know, several weeks later, and I didn't even pick up a Desire chip because I thought I was one of those that was constitutionally incapable of being honest with myself. Like you hear a lot of people talk about. But the only thing that I did right, I guess I should say, is that I kept getting back up on that horse and riding it. And I see a lot of people give up, and I get that. I get why they do that. But, every single time what would happen to me, Mike and Bill, is I would just, there was something in the back of my little pea brain that kept saying, when I was out there, especially those 3 years from 86 to 89, I kept saying to myself, just one more night of fun, John. Just one more night of fun. Just let me rip it up, and then I'll start over tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, in my case, it was never that clean of a break, right? It was always like, well, hey, she's really pretty, or, hey, I just want to get up on that table one more time and dance like a fool and, do my impersonation. I used to have these impersonations that I did, like things like the worm. You've probably seen that. And then I had an impersonation of an orgasm that I would do. It was like, a lot of milk in your mouth. I'll spare you all the details of that. But I would just think I would want to go out and do these kind of things one more time, and then I'll start over. But it was never that clean of a break. It always took me it always took a lot of work to get back into Alcoholics Anonymous. And I would come in beat up again and think, why did I do this again? So, and this last time that I came, like I said, my sobriety date's May 29th, 1989. I asked the sponsor to be that's 35 years ago now. And that gentleman who I asked to be my sponsor is still my sponsor today.
Nice.
Cool.
And I keep telling him it's a temporary sponsorship thing. I'm gonna see if he, can cut it.
Right.
In fact, I just talked to him a little while ago, right before I got on this call, about some big problem I was having. Believe me, it's a big problem. It's not a big problem, but I just needed to kind of get some stuff off my chest. I don't like to have any secrets out there, and I just like things to be out there. And I can honestly tell you that if God were to punch the clock on me tonight, I would have had, nothing that I needed to get off my chest.
Right.
So anyway, he took me aside and he says, "Hey, you've been doing this thing for a few years now. Have you ever worked the steps?" And I was like, I hit my head like, wow, I could have had a V8, like, and I had not done the steps up until that point. And he he says, okay, we're going to start the steps. And he went through it and he took me through it just like it is laid out in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I know a lot of people have a lot of different ways they can do that. And by God's grace in my life, I have not had to have a drink since that time. So, and I don't want to just kind of go on here talking unless you guys want me. I could talk about the first step, second step, third step, whatever you want me to talk about. But do you have any questions thus far?
No, I mean, no questions at all. And I mean, the main thing too is that I mean, my opinion so far is, I mean, I think you've given a really good idea and background of what you went through. And the thing of it is too is that a lot of people that listen to us, we get a mix. We get people that are straight up AA people. This is not an AA podcast, never has been. Although we went through AA and we still practice those principles in all our affairs, but some people, don't use a program. Some do. Some
I get
use
it.
part of the program. So go through the steps. I don't think necessarily you need to do that, but I think that this would be a great opportunity to talk about your podcast, talk about your
Sure.
website, what you do now. Now you've gotten to that point. We know you worked with your sponsor, that he introduced you to the steps. That's cool. Got obviously a number of years, 34 years, if I'm 35 years, if I'm doing the math right.
Right.
So, and then, yeah, tell us what are you doing now to get back to the community with your website and your podcast?
Yeah, before you get to that, so basically you're saying you were in and out and in and out, and then you started working the steps and you stayed sober. Is that what you were trying to say?
That's right.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah, it kind of worked that way for me too.
Yeah, so I'll talk about the podcast. Like in 2000, at the end of 2017, my wife, who I call the lovely Mrs. M, we went to a Christmas party. It was a recovery Christmas party, AA Christmas party for the group that I attend here local in Frisco, Texas. And there was a guy there. He was in the back of the room, and his name is Alex. And Alex was a guy he was from Iran. And whenever he got called on in meetings, he was always very kind of shy. He never really spoke up. He would always pass the whole 9 years. And so I just started talking to Alex and I said, hey, Alex, you're kind of quiet in the rooms. Can you tell me a little bit about your story? And he went on to this amazing he back in the I think the 70s, he was in Iran, and it was during the hostage crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And he was there, and his dad was there, and they experienced that, and his dad somehow, some way, smuggled the family out of Iran during that time. He made up some stuff and he got them over to Germany. And then when he got to Germany, he came over to the United States, and he said he would read the Persian version of the big book. And we had a lot of conversation about that. And he told me all this stuff about how in Iran, they didn't really have Alcoholics Anonymous because alcohol is, quote, illegal. But they have Narcotics Anonymous because of all the opium and all that kind of stuff. And so anyway, and he had a lot more going on with the story about how he got here and he had a family. And I was like, oh my God, Alex, this is just incredible. And I went home that night and I started thinking about, how do we get, Alex is not the only guy that sits in the back of the room and doesn't really have a lot to say. And how do we get somebody like Alex? How do we get like I knew all these people in my group who had incredible stories. And I thought, how do we get a story like that out there for others to see, for others to hear? And so I asked my wife, I says, hey, would you mind just like putting a website up if I kind of try to figure out how to do a podcast? Like you guys, I had no, it is interesting that you talked recently, or you talked at the beginning of this, Bill, about all the ums. I used to listen to every one of my episodes, and I would go through for probably about the first 50 episodes, and I would go through and I'd take out all the ums, and I would take out all, I was trying to make it perfect, right? But eventually I figured nobody gives a rat's ass, right? I'm just going to let,
Nope.
like you guys do, I'm just going to kind of roll with it. And I quit doing that. I'll do some editing, it's usually not a ton though. And it's usually when I'm like taking out noise that was made on the episode or something like that. But anyway, so I started a podcast, and now we have, I was just working. In fact, this is what I usually do on Friday night when we're recording right now. I just got through recording and scheduling for publish my 350th episode.
Nice.
Yeah, and by God's grace, we have 2.5 million downloads. So somewhere along the line, I guess we kind of hit a chord with somebody somewhere, and it's a nice little community, and it's been a real big part of my sobriety.
You can save every day by shopping at Whole Foods Market. Seriously, don't just go for the big sales. They have literally thousands of low-price goods with their house brand, 365 by Whole Foods Market. While at happy prices, limited-time seasonal flavors, and all the quality you expect, like no high fructose corn syrup or over 300 other ingredients banned from all the food they sell. There's so many ways to save at Whole Foods Market. Now you know.
So when did you start the podcast? I missed the date.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So I think the first episode I ever put out, like, oh my gosh, it was so horrible. But
Ours too.
Yeah, it was like, oh man, I didn't know what I was doing, and I had the wrong kind of microphone. I had everything, but then I grabbed a guy out of my meeting. His name was Mike, and he was visiting from Mumbai at the time. And I just said, hey, I'm starting to sing. Would you mind coming over to the house real quick? And I called him Mumbai Mike on the podcast. But anyway, but that was back at the end of 2017. But I really didn't start until 2018. And then somebody suggested, I remember this, like over the first few minutes, you should put out one a week. And I was like, do you have any idea what it's like to put out even one episode? But, as you guys know, you just get a little bit more efficient with it. And eventually I started to put out one a week, and it's been several years now, many years. And like, I haven't missed a release on one episode in a long time. I'll put it that way.
Right.
Yeah. That's one of the things we prided ourselves on, because it seems like every podcast takes a break, takes a hiatus, takes a vacation, takes a time out, takes a retool, whatever they call it. And like Easter, the first year I think we were doing this, I heard all these podcasts, and I'm like posting on Instagram, like, everyone's on a break, listen to just us.
Right.
Because we've never, since we started, it's kind of like when we started reading the 24-hour book, when we started doing our morning routine, neither one of us, Mike or I, have missed a day since, and that's,
right.
14 plus years, and we pretty much, I guess, handle this podcast the same way, right, Mike? I mean, with the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, since we've been doing it, I've gone on vacation to Mexico twice, and I've recorded from Mexico.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been in different parts of the country. We've had, which is not a big deal. It's just I always got internet for work anyhow. But we've recorded now on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Once we had to record on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
We still have not had to record on a Monday or Tuesday, but we usually release every Saturday.
Mhm.
So this episode will be live, on tomorrow. I do it the same day, which is that's the other thing. All these things I read after the fact.
Right.
After the fact, I read that it's like you should have 4 episodes in the can, so you kind of catch people, they can binge, and you hold on to them right away. We didn't do that. Then they're like, on top of that, you don't, record a number of episodes, and you're always a few ahead, and you've got episodes kind of saved. And so if you do miss a week, you're never missing a week. Well, we didn't do that, and all these different things. It's like, fuck it. And now it's just like whatever happens, we record, put it together. It takes an hour, maybe 15 minutes, hour and a half at the most to put everything together. It's not hard. It just, all I got to do is wait for things to load up. Everything else are episode descriptions and shit like that. Mike comes up with the title, looks up the picture. That's just plugging that stuff in for me. It's easy.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes just a routine. So,
are you thinking of a title for this one so far, Mike?
Not yet.
Okay, gotcha.
I do it after we're done. I think back and go, okay, that was a good line. We'll use that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do the same thing. Coming up with those titles, like usually after I'm done with it, I'll ask the guests, I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about titling it this way. Like, we had a lady come on, her name was Amy. And during the middle of the podcast, during the middle of recording the episode, she said, prostitutes don't get sober on Saturday, and I got sober on a Saturday, and I was like, Amy, do you mind if I use that? I don't want to
That's
use that
good.
if you're not good with it. She goes, no, I love it. And so, it was called Amy, Amy S. Prostitutes don't get sober on Saturday.
That's great.
That's perfect. Yeah. And that's usually, last week's episode was get the goat's consent, because we talked about, doing filthy things with goats. It had nothing to do with anything, but
I heard that.
you know,
And by the way, who was that? I heard you guys like banging on guy, not banging. You're a dissing on him. Some guy from Texas. What did he do again? It was something to do with It was something to do with Instagram. I didn't understand that.
it was the attorney. There was an attorney that was in Texas. His ad, he was called the Hammer. And there's one in Chicago. These stupid personal injury attorneys talk about,
Yeah, the Hammer.
you got a problem, you do that, we'll hammer these results, we'll hammer this. But this guy is true Texas, and he sounded like a damn cartoon character is what he sounded like. And it would play on. I listened to Tune In every morning because I listened to this morning show out of Milwaukee. I've listened to it for years. And wherever I'm at, I'll get local ads. So I'm getting this fucking idiot every goddamn morning talking about hammering the insurance companies. It's ridiculous, but it's everywhere.
This was a guy who like unfollowed you or something like that. He said he had a hat on. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was something. You had some beef with some dude, and you called him a goat fucker. And I said, I said, don't put down goat fuckers, man. Ain't nothing wrong with that. As long as the goat consents.
Yes.
That's how. I thought you meant when I was down in Texas, because I was down in Texas for 3 weeks. But no, yes, with that episode, that's what it was. The guy unfollowed us because we posted a pride post. About.
Did he actually say that? Did he say this is why I'm unfollowing you guys?
Well, it was on that post, and he said unfollow in the comments on that particular post. And I just commented. I'm like, if that's the reason you're unfollowing, that's good. That's a good thing, man.
Please, we don't want you.
Right?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, sorry, didn't mean to sidetrack your podcast. So 350 episodes, and obviously. Strippers don't get sober on Saturdays. We know that. That's good.
Prostitutes.
There's
a difference.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Usually. Sometimes. Okay. Occasionally there's a difference.
Yeah, they may dovetail together sometimes.
Yeah, we had the stripper episode. That was with our friend Daphne, accidental stripper, because she said she wasn't a stripper. So Mike made the episode titled "The Accidental Stripper" or something like that. It was funny. It was funny. So with the website, and I've popped on there a couple of times, but I'll be honest, I have not spent a lot of time taking a look at your website.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about that. What's on your website? What can people get involved in, and what's it all about?
Yeah. So we have mainly we put that website up so people would have similar to you access to the episodes of the podcast, and some people listen to there. But as you guys know, I'm sure, I thought it was going to be the way that people listen to the podcast, but it turns out that that's not, really much of the case at all. In other words, they'll listen to it on Apple Podcast or,
Spotify, whatever. Yeah. iHeart. Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so we put that up there, and then I kind of have some resources on the website as well, like AA, Al-Anon, other resources that we use. There's conferences coming up, and I put that up there, and then we have a lot of blog material as well. And the blog material is, quite honestly, it's what we have kind of figured out how to do is there are low competition. High search volume keywords that people are looking for answers on, and we publish articles on it just to see if people can use that, and that's pretty much it. I'm not a big real promo guy. I mean, I know I have the website out there, but mainly I just kind of come on these things and I'm thinking, in essence, hey, like you guys, let's share experience, strength, hope here, and see if we can help somebody out here and there, while we're having a little bit of fun.
Right. Well, and that's a thing too. When we first start, well, I won't even say when we first started, right, Mike? Through this whole thing, we both of us have had these grandiose ideas that probably me more than you.
Yeah, definitely.
I get these fucking wild hairs up my ass, and I'm like, boy, we should do this. And I do it for like 15 minutes, and then I stop. But we've got a blog section on our website. I've written some more. I love to write. I don't have the time, or
Mhm.
I don't have the time. I was going to say I don't take the time, but no, I just don't have the time to sit down and do it all the time. Yes, people can listen on there. We've had a few people, that don't want to get on any of the media players or, obviously streaming platforms or anything like that will use the website. But I've looked at the results. It's very few. But we try to, our store link to our store is on there. There's certain things that will try to push people that way. If we're doing a promotion on something, whatever it is, we'll say, go to our website and click through here. So I try to drive some traffic through it. But the thing of it is now is, I mean, we've done almost it's not SEO optimized like it should be. I understand the keywords and all those different things about how to do it. I don't want to spend the money or the time on the
Right.
programs to do it, but I understand the concepts of it. But yeah, I mean, the thing of it is that that's the one thing that I agree with, or we agreed with to begin with when we first started doing this, is that one way or the other, you got to have, if you're going to have a podcast or you're going to be a creator of some sort, you got to have a place for people to land for something at some point, even if it's not real active. If you don't have it, I don't want to even say, maybe it is credibility, right, Mike? I don't know. It's just, you got to have a
Yeah,
place for
pretty
people to go,
much.
you know?
But yeah, right. Make us kind of look legitimate.
Right, yeah. It's sometimes like Mike says all the time, just at least we look like we know what we're doing sometimes with
Hmm
the website is kind of what it comes across
Exactly.
as.
Act as if. We,
Yeah.
we learned that somewhere.
Right.
Oh, I did mean I forgot to tell you though, we do have step workbooks on the site, for those who are interested in the site. And by the way, I I am not a there are those who are in Alcoholics Anonymous who think this is the only way you can get sober. I'm not in that
Mm,
camp, right?
neither are we.
Right.
I think it's a great way to get sober, and I think the
Hmm
numbers prove out that it has been a great way, but it's not
Right.
an end all be all. Even in the big book, it says we realize we know only a little.
Right.
More will be disclosed to you and to our fellows. So,
Hmm
everyone's got to follow their own conscience, and I get that it's not for some people. Maybe it's too much God, or it's or there's a lot of people who are introverts too. They just can't handle the group thing, right? and
Right.
and and I get that. I just know that I just feel blessed, really blessed, that I found something for me. The only thing that like I told you guys earlier, that I haven't done, the one thing that I haven't, or the only thing that I've done right, I'll put it that way, is I've been consistent about going to meetings ever since I got sober. And it's not because, I've heard people say the only reason I come to meetings is to help somebody else. Well, I'm not going to help somebody else. I mean, now when I get there, sometimes I go, hey, I think I could help. Is because I just need a little respite from my own brain. And for whatever reason, that's the thing that helps me.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, actually, both Mike and I we go to very few meetings. I mean, we were very, very active to begin with.
Sure.
Mike goes. I mean, tell your story, Mike. You go to
Well, yeah. I
one
mean,
meeting a week.
that's just what you said, right? I go to my home group once a week. That's the one I'm consistent with, and I go there. I'm the co-treasurer, and I go there to help run the meeting and to be of service. I don't need to hear another drunkalog, which is, it happens all the time. But I'm there. I'm there to, I want the hand of aid to be there, and for that I'm responsible. So I show up every week, and my hand is out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I was back in Cleveland, and if I'm going to go to a meeting, it's not like I'll only go to a meeting in Cleveland, but I would say 90% of the time when I'm back in Cleveland, unless we've got other things that are planned where we are unable to do it, we always go to a meeting. We'll hit a Friday night meeting because like this time we got to see there was a guy that sponsored both Mike and I.
Mhm.
When I was still out there, and he's, technically on paper, he's still both of our, he's a sponsor
Right.
to both of us. He
Mhm.
told us years ago, he's like, the only way I'm not going to be your sponsor is if you tell me not to be. But we sat there and we saw him a couple of minutes before the meeting when he walked in, and then we sat there for an hour or so with him
Yeah,
afterward, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
And it was wonderful. We hadn't seen him in a year, literally, and the lead was good. We ended up seeing the guy that was that led at Founders Day the next day, but didn't say hi to him. But I saw him there, and then it was a decent lead. And like I said, we got to see some people that we hadn't seen in a while, and I love Cleveland AA. Nothing wrong with meetings. I've been in meetings in different areas, but this has become. We always used to go consistently to our home group was on a Friday night, and this has become our Friday night meeting. That was, and Mike said that before, and
Right.
I had this, and it's the easiest way to put it, a void, a hole, or whatever it was. I felt like I was missing something, and this literally has not only filled but overfilled in a great way. That whatever that void was, this has done that because,
Right.
we get our meeting, we get our conversation, we get to hang out and be friends like we are and brothers. But on top of that, I mean, for some reason, every once in a while we say some of this shit. It makes sense to somebody and it helps,
Mm-hmm.
It feels that a sense of community for
Yeah.
me that
We're here to fill holes.
I smell an episode title. But so what else, John? I mean, we're getting towards usually the middle of the episode where we're going to take a break. What else do you want to tell everyone about you and what you're doing, and kind of to wrap up your time with us?
Yeah, so I really don't, like I said, I'm not a big, I'm not into the promo thing. I just want to share, and if somebody benefits from it, and it can give somebody the input, if it can give somebody the launching pad that they need in order to try to get sober, whether that be through AA or any other means that you try, I can just tell you that for me, um, I have. I listen, I don't want you guys know this. It's not like it's all butterflies and ponies and stuff like that. And I don't even want to.
Strawberries and orgasms.
Yeah, strawberries and orgasms. It is not all that. But I do feel grateful that I have this life that I have been afforded in sobriety and living a completely different way of life than I was just going down the toot and I was becoming like a lot of the people that I had seen around me, and it was not going in the right direction. And like I said earlier, by God's grace, He picked me up by the scruff of the neck, and I'm grateful that I've been sober. And then I'll say this too to kind of wrap up our time. There's this saying that I've heard recently, and that is that. How does this quote go? Oh yeah, mark the place that it is that you found God, and go there often. Now, for me, that place has been Alcoholics Anonymous, and I go there often. And, somebody could change that around and say, mark the place where you found serenity, or mark the place where you found yourself, or mark the place where you found whatever it is, and go there often. But that's why I go back, and that's why I try my best to keep giving a day at a time. Anyway, I'm glad you guys let me come on and share a little bit of my nonsense today.
Yeah, I
Cool.
mean, we appreciate it, and make sure everyone the John's website link is in the episode notes. Also, the Sober Curator is going to be episode notes. Visit the Sober Curator. Also, I don't know that this episode may take a week or so, or even a couple to get up there, but make sure you visit this there, and reach out to John, listen to his podcast also, and John,
Sober Speak Podcast.
Yeah, Sober Speak, 2 words, or 2 words, and you can find it on any of the
Look in Google, because I just did. It's there.
Exactly. If all else fails, Google it, right?
And you guys know what I'm about to go do. I'm about to this has been the highlight of my evening. I think I'm about to go watch the Dallas Mavericks lose to the Boston Celtics in 4. But at least we made it to the finals, and I'm happy about that. So,
well, cool. Well, John, stick around just for a minute while we wrap up. And Mike, it is your turn.
All right. Well, thanks, John, for coming on. And we're going to be right back with more nonsense after this word from our sponsor.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober Not Mature.
Hi
and,
there.
yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have two websites now. So we wanted two websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.SoberNotMature.com. And we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. But from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you can access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Yeah, at least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me 24 Hours, the Big Book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping, though. Okay, now I got to say www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. .com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is, again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
Did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone. You've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. All right, everyone. Welcome back. And as we were wrapping up with John, he asked if we were going to come back on here and talk about him. So,
yeah, how about that John dude?
after all that, no, we're not going to talk about you at all. But no, seriously, we want to thank John for coming on here. It was a lot of fun, and he's I think he would be the almost the textbook definition of humble, right? I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. He's out there doing good stuff, and he's like, yeah, I'm just doing my thing.
Yeah, just like, I don't want to promote it and stuff. And I'm like, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to tell people about? Yeah, me, because I'm a whore and he's not. I'm like, no, throw your shit out there. Show your tits. I mean, come on. What's wrong with you?
Clearly, he didn't get maybe he got sober on a Saturday. Maybe that's the problem.
Exactly. But no, seriously. But we've got links to his website in the episode notes, and visit our episode. You can, our website. You can click in through there because I know some of the like Apple and stuff like that. I don't know if it has the links, but if you don't have a link to it, go on our website, SoberNotMature.com. Hit the episode. The transcriptions within a couple of days will show the link. But either way, it's Sober Speak. Mike said Google has
Sober Speak, right?
Sober Speak. Find John. He's a good dude, and support him if nothing else. Even though he's not trying to whore himself out, at least support the man. He's humble.
That's right. We'll be his pimp.
Yeah. We're out there trying to make money for the man, so or at least make some connections if nothing else. So. But so back to our fucking garbage. I don't think we're not going to do a reading tonight, right? No sense.
No, it's fine. I mean, I've got the book here, but I didn't pick anything out, so that's fine with me.
Yeah, and I have no issue with it, but I figured that maybe obviously leave it up to you. But so a couple of real quick things that I believe we'd probably want to do a Founders Day recap. I would think.
I would think.
First of all, though, it's coming up on Father's Day weekend. I know we have a lot of dads and a lot of dads that are just getting maybe kids back into their lives and that sort of thing. So happy Father's Day to everyone out there. If for the dads, and if you still have a dad around, do something nice for your dad.
Right? Yeah. Congratulations on leaving it in.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Dad. Yeah, there was a. I'll have to find that meme. It's probably going to come up as a memory, but yeah. Basically, shoot that the meme says something along the lines of, basically your kids should just thank you for, for keeping it in that day. Same deal,
That's right.
So yeah, I don't need a gift. I mean, I gave you your gift a long time ago, so I am the gift, right?
That's right.
But yeah, so I got a couple other things I think notes on here and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely happy Father's Day to everyone. Oh, I know what I wrote down. I saw that you posted it. I saw that you signed up for it. I know it's a little ways away, a couple of months,
Oh yeah.
but you're back. You're back doing the radio gig this year. So let's at least get that flow that out there to everyone right away.
All right. Yes, I will be back on the mighty airwaves of WJCU August 30th. It is a Friday, so clearly we're going to have to record the day before that week. And yeah, just spinning my awful, horrible music that I love so bad. And yeah, I've talked about it before real quickly. WJCU had it's a college radio station here in Cleveland. They are worldwide, WJCU.org. If you want to listen, they've got their own app. You can listen through that wherever you get your apps at. And yeah, JCU has a big place in my heart. Early sobriety, very early sobriety, raw first week sobriety. I was laying there at the Keating Center, flipping around the radio on a Friday night and heard my music, the stuff that I love. And that was on WJCU. So I support the station. I'm going down for 2 hours and spinning my awful heavy metal and punk rock music.
Yeah, and seriously, that's it's. I think one of the best parts of that story. I mean, not just the fact that you do it and you enjoy yourself. That's one thing. The fact that it's giving back to that community. That's another thing, which is hugely important.
Yeah.
But it really is. It's a part of your sobriety story.
It is.
Because what did you figure? A few weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks is when you were listening to that. I mean, it's that, right?
Yeah, I think maybe the second week I was at the Keating Center. Yeah. So, 3 weeks sober, man, just going, oh, fuck, man. I just want to, I want to listen to something. I want to pretend for a minute that all of this isn't happening.
Yeah.
And there it was. Yeah. It was either the New York Dolls and then the Dead Boys, or the Dead Boys and the New York Dolls. It was a radio show that's not on there anymore. Music to Break Things By, my buddies Adam and Andy, Adam and Max now. And yeah, and the show before it is the Metal on Metal radio show hosted by the legendary Bill Peters. It is the longest running heavy metal radio show in the world. He started in 1982.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing of it is, and the whole point of you sitting there in the Keating Center, and like you said, that this isn't happening, and I know that it's all these just not all these little things, but a couple of these little things here and there when we were at the Keating Center, listening to music, I'm sure made you feel whatever the version of normal that you wanted to feel made you feel that way. I remember taking, something as simple as taking a walk up to the gas station, taking a bike ride, but we used to bike right down to the library, having that little bit of normalcy. Not that the Keating Center was terrible, but it was
just a lot of big fucking changes right at once. Right.
Yeah. And it's just like, we needed, I'm sure not only wanted, but needed that time to just sit back and be like, man, I just want to fucking chill for a minute.
Right.
So
I don't want to think about Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob and fucking Marty and all these assholes around me. And yeah, rubber chicken and rubber dogs and rubber donuts and yes.
But yeah, I mean, obviously we'll talk about it a little bit more as more obviously as it gets closer. But I saw the face on the face on Postbook. Holy fuck.
Yeah, that too.
The post on Facebook, which by the way, can we bitch about Facebook for a minute? Can I sidestep this?
Yes, absolutely.
What fucking Meta, okay?
Right.
fucking Zuckerberg and Meta and all these motherfuckers
Mhm.
out there between them. So what was it 6 months ago when every goddamn thing I was posting was getting flagged on Instagram? And
Mhm.
so finally I'm like, okay, I've got to ease up a little bit, and I'm careful with what I post. There was never a problem, and everything that we post on Instagram crosses over to Facebook. Every
Right.
once in a while I do see where it says we were unable to post it on Facebook, but usually it's like a video or a reel. It's podcast stuff, that I'm
Right.
like, for whatever reason, it didn't translate. Sometimes on Facebook, it'll say this is not going to be available in all countries because it has music attached or whatever it is. But
Mhm.
then, and the weird thing is, I'm not getting the notifications that you are. I looked all around and I don't see them.
Right.
But
Well,
even
because
regard,
I'm the primary administrator on the Facebook page because I started it.
oh shit, okay, because I'm like, how the fuck am I not even seeing these things? So that makes sense.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, right. I open up Facebook on my phone and it pops up. I can't even get into Facebook straight away. I get the notification pops up, and you know what? I think because it's we've had 4 of them in like the past 8-9 days, something like that. Um, yeah, today was the 4th one, and yeah, I think it's got something to do with the hashtags. I
Right.
know because it's saying it's spam. It's saying like we're fucking taking people to a website that's different than what's shown. I don't know, but I think it's the hashtags. Whatever, setting it off.
Right. Well, and because the other thing too is that because we have links to our website on there, Sober Not Mature, and the store website, so it's trying
Hmm.
to take. I wonder if I wonder if it's even that. But so here's what I'm going to try. So have you gotten them on anything with a podcast or anything with the readings? Have you ever they pop up, or is it just memes?
It's yeah. Well, no, it's because it doesn't have anything to do with the podcast, so it wouldn't be the readings or anything. It's the posts that cross over from Instagram because every great once in a while I'll post something on the Facebook page. I never
Right.
go to Instagram.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, basically, it says spam, and then it says examples of things we don't allow. Taking people to a website that is significantly different from what was shown or sent them, taking people to a landing page that impersonates another website, disguising where a link is taking someone using repeated redirects or cloaking.
Jesus
So it's
Christ.
the hashtags. I
Okay.
know it is. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the hashtags that on the memes and shit that you post.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. It's for some reason it's popping. It's making Zuckerberg his panties in a wad. They're crawling up his ass.
So what I'm gonna do for a little while, try to let this cool down. Either I won't put like weird hashtags in there. I'll make
Mhm.
sure because I know the one was human sacrifice, so I had that. I get that. But the one that I posted, the last one that popped up was just the one, it's like the flex that we have is that we don't have to be fake, fake shit or whatever. It's just kind of like, okay, we're real. And I'm like,
Mhm.
this is cool because that's kind of a good indication of who we are as a podcast, right? That's why
Right.
I put, I'm like, this is who we are. But
Right.
then probably the fact that it's we are, I mean, we're not, I don't know, we're not the meme.
Yeah.
These fuckers. I mean, these motherfuckers.
Right.
So I may, and what I was wondering though, is like when I post the podcast clips or when I do a reading from
No,
Doc
I don't think it's
Ratney.
any of those.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so then at least I know it's not my general hashtags in my general postings. It's
Right.
the catchy hashtags that I
Probably.
try to
Right.
use.
Yeah. Yeah. I would imagine. Right. Yeah. It's human sacrifice. It's misrepresenting. Fucking A, man. I don't know.
Right. Okay. So I don't know. I'll watch myself or I'll stop cross posting the memes because I can do it. It's a button. It's not a big deal. But
Okay.
yeah, fucking Facebook. I'm like,
Hmm.
Jesus Christ. If they aren't fucking with us on one side, they're fucking with us on the other, and
Right.
it's just crazy. So your
Right.
microphone
Well, I
just
mean,
cracked open.
yeah, Facebook, I think the first time I went to Facebook jail, I've been there a few times, folks, um, was I posted the Spicoli clip from Fast Times where he hits his head with the shoe and says, "That's my skull. I'm so wasted."
Right.
I posted that clip off of YouTube onto Facebook, and behind Spicoli is a Playboy centerfold hanging on the wall, and there's a boobie showing, and they fucking took me off of Facebook for like a week.
Yeah, and that was I kind of instigated that. I forget what I posted. That was a comment on
Yeah,
my
yeah, it
post.
wasn't even a post. That's right. It was a fucking comment on something you put up. I just posted the clip. That's my
Yeah,
skull. I'm so wasted.
and I think that's what I think I got. That's like the first pair of Vans I got, which was a
Yeah,
couple
that
years
was
ago.
probably it. Yeah, there you go. Oh, it
Yeah,
was something stupid. But
it was. It
yes,
was
there was a booby in the background, and they've shut my ass down because of it.
right. Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah. Just when I don't know, as we were talking about that, I remember what reminded me of it. But yeah, fuck Facebook. That's all. I mean, all of it.
Right.
I hate the fact that we need any of that shit, but unfortunately, we do. So.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so radio gig we got, and then
Yep.
now Founders Day last weekend.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, where do we want to start? I mean, it was fun. I mean, as always, it was a beautiful fucking day. It was just
Yes,
a
it was.
really really day. What was it in upper 70s or was
Upper
it no?
70s. Yeah.
Yeah.
It might have hit 80.
Yeah, it was just because we've had some years there. We had this really, really hot year. We've had fucking thunderstorms. We've had,
Nope.
stadium clearing lightning.
Yes, we have.
But this was perfect. And I mean, we just kind of first of all, I was kind of amazed at we saw a lot of people that we
Mm-hmm.
knew this year, which last
Right.
year we saw Marty and Michelle,
Right.
and then like fucking no one else. And this year
Right.
we saw a bunch of people, and then
Yeah.
repeatedly all the people from the retreat we saw like repeatedly
Mm-hmm.
throughout the day. So
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it was a nice time, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was it was Founders Day, man. It was 10,000. It was packed. There were more people there than have been for a while. Yeah, the stadium was packed, like packed,
Right.
and man, it was a good time, man. It always is. Went outside of Dr. Bob's house, didn't go in. Got some new pictures on the rock, and yeah, good times.
Yeah, and I haven't had I just haven't had the time to take those, and I'm gonna take a few of those, like the main ones that I posted them on Instagram and stuff like that, and
Right.
those are the main ones that I posted. I think are the ones I'm gonna turn into black and white, and then I'll get new Canva posts and do all that stuff with them. But
Mm-hmm.
it was a lot of fun, and then the lead,
Yeah.
the lead this year was I mean a good story, had a
Right.
lot of humor to it,
Yep.
and I mean, so much shit that all of us, he had people laughing. He had people
Mm-hmm.
just like, I mean, just going, wow. I mean, it was a great lead. Fucking
Yeah, it
awesome.
was. Yeah, finally, there was a fucking really good lead for the main speaker on the big Saturday night meeting. Yes, it was nice. We actually stayed for the whole fucking thing, which we never do.
Right. And I was trying to think the last time that we stayed for the whole thing might have been, I don't know, 8 years ago, seven
Yeah,
years ago,
right,
something
right.
like that.
Yeah.
And we figured out that we've gone, 12 out of the 15 years, except for,
Mm-hmm.
again, pandemic years and one we missed,
Right.
that we had stuff to do. But yeah, out of 15, or I'm sorry, 12 years of doing that, I think we
Mm-hmm.
probably stayed the entire time for maybe three of them,
Right.
if that.
Right.
And oh, this guy he was just a fucking treat. What did he have? 32 years, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Right. Yeah. Jeff from Fargo, North Dakota.
Yeah, and he wasn't the "Yeah there, hey" or
No,
"Oh, yeah."
I don't believe he was a native. I'm trying to think. I think he was from somewhere else, but yes, he's lived in Fargo for a long time. Yeah, he definitely didn't have the accent.
Right. So, I want to go back to Founders Day in a second, but I just remembered when the lead that we listened to at Who Do You Know, you stood up and commented based on what
Mm.
the guy said,
Mm-hmm.
and he said something, it was something along the lines of when he took a first drink and then something happened. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, he was, telling his story, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And he had a period of sobriety, dry, whatever. And he was talking about after he had been dry for like a couple of years, he took that drink of vodka and he felt it, and I was listening to him, and I was expecting him to say, yeah, I felt that ease and comfort that the big book talks about, and he didn't. He said, and he felt everything good that was in him leave. And I went, whoa, fuck. Yeah, that's good, man. That is definitely good. Yeah. So it was very poignant or whatever, but it was I've never heard it. I've never heard that in a
Right.
meeting before. I took that drink and I instantly felt it, and it wasn't yeah, that ease and comfort that we expect. It was, he felt everything good that was in him leave. And I went, fuck, man. All right. Thank you. Cause, you know, cause, you know, I mean, 14 plus years, whatever, man, one fucking day at a time. Today's the only day that counts. And, you know, we've talked about it endlessly on here. Of course, we have the thoughts, of course. And, yeah, I needed to hear that. I don't want to take that drink and feel everything good that I've worked for and everything good that has built up inside of me all this time leave. I don't want that.
Yep. So 2 days in a row. I mean, we get a good lead at Founders Day, obviously, but then here in that lead, how I mean, in as you were just talking about that, I didn't think about it when you commented on it, but I thought the same thing. I'm like, fucking a, he completely caught me off guard and flipped it in the other direction because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we always talk about that. It's like, you know, I want to feel good. And we're going to feel good for what, 20 minutes and then
Right.
what, but no,
Mm-hmm.
he's just like, no, it's all gone. It all just goes away. But when's the last time that you heard somebody say something in a lead that you were just like, fuck me?
Right.
you know?
Well, a week ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. But prior to that, I know what you meant.
Right.
Yeah, it's probably been 6, 8, 9 months that I went, oh fuck. I mean, I'll hear stuff in leads and go, oh yeah, and agree, nod my head and relate and all that good stuff. But yeah, one of those aha moments. It's been a while.
Yeah, it doesn't happen that often, because I think it's like it just made me think of when I do my readings in the morning. Some of this stuff, I'm ingesting all of it. I know the stuff
Mm-hmm.
sticks. I know it does,
Right.
but it's not forefront and it's not like holy cow type of things. But
Mm-hmm.
every once in a while I'll read something and that's when, I put it on here and I put it on my list and all those
Right.
different things, because it's a thinking moment. But I'll be honest with you, I can't, but I don't go to a meeting every week like you do.
Right.
But I can't remember the last time that I've heard somebody say something at a podium that I've just been, holy shit.
Right.
Once again, you hear the same stuff and people's got great
Mm-hmm.
stories and all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, like you said, one of those aha moments. And I'm like, it was great. He was a good dude
Mm-hmm.
too, good dude. So, but yeah, I mean, just a Founders Day in general. I mean, it was just, I can't say it anymore. Great day, great weather. We had a good time. Our sister
Mm-hmm.
was there. Obviously, Chris was there.
Yep.
We're just hanging out. We saw a bunch of people. Heidi, you know,
Right.
strawberries and orgasms. We saw we
Mm-hmm.
saw Heidi there. We're standing on the hill
Yes,
at,
we were.
at Doctor's Bob's house just right after we got our picture. And I'm like, I look at him like I told Mike, I'm like, I'm like, Heidi just screamed her fucking name. All these people around. She's just like, she was there with the kids. I mean, it was fucking
Yeah. She's
wonderful.
walking down Ardmore.
Yeah. It was just really, really good. But so the end of the night, Chris couldn't find her car.
Yeah, she forgot where she parked. Yeah, she parked on the other side of the campus where we have never parked.
Uh,
Yeah,
it
because
was
she
just
came later. She came on her own, and yeah, we had to track down her Jeep. Thankfully, it doesn't blend in all that well, so it was we found it. It took us what, I don't know, 15 minutes or so.
right. Well, the only saving grace was because she, it was like after the meeting, we're piling out, whatever, and then I heard you guys talking. I'm like, well, what's going on? You're like, yeah, she doesn't know where she parked. I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah, well, I could see the parking garage. So we always and literally always
Mhm.
park in this one parking garage.
Right.
So we're thinking that one. So we walk over to this parking lot. We're looking for other parking lots, and then she gets this memory of like it was by this whatever engineering building. That's the
Mhm.
only way in the world that we would have
Yeah.
found that car that night.
Right.
So we Googled it, and then we all hopped in my car, drove over there, and yeah, like you said, we're driving around this road, and you're like, there it is. But yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Then yeah, we had
Mhm.
lunch with the cousins the next day, and
Right.
that was nice. So
Mhm.
yeah, it was just an all around good weekend. And then
Absolutely.
yeah, when I got back, I had finally I was thinking about it on my way back, and I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go up to Wisconsin for a few days. So yeah, I've been up in Oshkosh. Kimmy and Ollie came down last night, and
Cool.
um, I'm going up to because Kimmy wasn't sure with the registration and stuff. She didn't know if family could be there because it was canceled last weekend. Was supposed to be the registration. So yeah, apparently it's cool. She said yeah. The lady told her that yes, a lot of times family comes along. So I think Kimmy's mom, so my ex Pam is going to be there, and I'm going to head up there. And
Mm.
I know it's going to be the registration. I don't know like if they're going to practice or what they're going to do with the kids, but
Right.
And then,
We're talking about soccer, not registering for, anything bad.
yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. My grandson is, he's 2 years and a few months, and they're going to get him into, team sports. I think I mentioned it on here a couple of months
You
ago,
did,
but
but yes.
yeah.
we need to go register. Bill needs to go register himself, put a sign in his front yard if he had a front yard.
Right. No, yeah, it's just my grandson playing soccer and all that stuff. So it'll be good. And then, but then we're going to this. Kimmy sent me because again, I'm in Oshkosh and she used to work down here and she knew of a couple of places and she's like, "Where do you want to go?" I'm like, "I don't care." I said, "If nothing else, maybe a place we can get a good burger." And I said, "Hey," I said, "since we're by this." By the river here, I said, let's try to find a restaurant, by the river. Why not, And there was this one place I remember. It's like Dockside Restaurant Tavern, whatever. It's literally a bar restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
but it's supposed to have. She's like, I've heard it has really good food. And I looked at the menu. It's got burgers and shit. I'm like, we're going to a bar.
Yep.
And it's not just a bar, it's a bar restaurant with outside seating, but it's on the river and it's walkable from here. It's like, I don't know, 15-minute walk. I think we're going to walk. But so yeah, Derek's coming up. I don't know if Katie's coming up or not. Kimmy had asked me that last night, but one way or the other, have dinner with the kids and then I'm heading out of here on Sunday morning. So it's all good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good.
But God, the other thing with Founders Day. So each one of us, me and Mike and our sister Kathy, and I had cards because we have business cards,
Mm-hmm.
and we each grabbed a stack of them. I don't know how many we had. It was enough. I mean, it was quite a few.
Right.
And then we all had our Sober Not Mature Not Mature shirts.
Right.
It's just Kathy's going to be laughing because she says that all the time. Sober Not Mature shirts. Our Sober Not Mature shirts. And last year too, people were saying that, hey, that's a cool shirt. It's like, hey, here's a card. It's a podcast.
Right.
It's at the web store. And nobody's ordered anything, so we didn't get some like big sale off of it. But I'm noticing that especially the last few episodes, we've been a little bit low on plays.
Mm-hmm.
Last week's episode has more than normal, more than what's been normal in the last few episodes. So I'll have to take a look at the website stats. But I think if nothing else, we got a push from it. But there was this guy that we handed out a card to, and then he saw us when we walked into the stadium, and then handed me a card. Okay, so did you catch what that gist was? With that whole
Something
thing?
about kidney or something.
Yeah, exactly. So what it is, and I have the link is in the episode notes. It's a link to the
Okay.
website. So what it is, and I looked it all up. It's a link to the story of this little boy, and it's Children's Organ Transplant Association. So it's COTA, and
Okay.
the young boy's name is Amari, and
Mm-hmm.
it basically what happened was, I mean, he was. Born in 2021, healthy, happy, started to have some issues. They took him in, and he had started not only had some medical issues, but has stage 5 kidney failure, end stage renal disease. So
Mm.
basically, they're trying to get. I mean, he's full-time care. He's in and out of hospitals, this sort of thing. So basically, what they're doing is they're obviously trying to raise money to get this little boy
Mm-hmm.
an organ transplant. So
Huh.
what I did was, and I told the guy we'd mentioned it, and then I got an email from one of the other volunteers also this week, giving me a little bit more information and the link to the story and stuff like that. So I put that link in our episode description. It is what it is. This is all about, just we had somebody come up to us and ask us to, obviously promote this and present this
Mm-hmm.
to people. It's a great cause. Obviously, it's a little child that's going through this shit. Don't get me wrong. I know there's hundreds and thousands of people out there,
Right.
but somebody came up and asked us to do it, and we've committed to doing that with anything, So just not just for the sober shit, but trying to be good human beings, right?
Exactly.
So, if whatever anyone out there chooses to do, if you feel the need and you want to click through, read a story, you have an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to donate. Everything's in there. It's an organization. It's a reputable organization. It's kind of like a GoFundMe type of page,
Mm-hmm.
but it's got the whole story in there. So that link is in the episode description. If you're listening on a platform that doesn't allow you to click links, please go to our website,
Mm-hmm.
SoberNotMature.com. Go to this episode. In the description, you'll be able to click through the link, okay, through our website.
Cool.
One way or the other, I don't know. We're doing something good, and we're telling everyone about it.
Right.
But seriously, it just I was kind of I don't know, I was kind of taken aback by that. We've never had anyone ask us, to do something like that. So I just thought it was great. The guy's like, hey, I take your card. Would you mind taking this one and mentioning it? And I was like, fuck, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. So to the gentleman who asked us to do it, we appreciate you, obviously giving us the opportunity. We talk a lot of garbage on here, but every once in a while, it's nice to do something that's heartfelt, right?
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
And that's what happens, one drunk helping another. That's what we do.
Exactly. So other than that, I mean, anything else with Founders Day? I mean, it just I can't say it enough. I mean, we had a great time, I guess.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, exactly.
So in I've had a note on here about this for a long time, and we got time. We obviously got a little bit of time on here. So I had a note on here to tell stories about. Did I ever tell you about driving my dad's car or cars?
With what now? Who? What?
Me driving my dad's cars when I was little.
No.
Okay. So not only has it been on my sheet for a long time, I'm like, let's do a Father's Day story.
Okay.
But he was in his alcoholic behavior at the time, but clearly, he didn't get sober when I was like 8, 9, 10 years old. But
right.
So here's the thing: my dad, for anyone who hasn't paid attention to earlier episodes, was sober when he died, 29 years sober. Was a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. Again, practiced these principles, all that sort of shit. But had a lot of years of doing a lot of he qualified. Let's just put it that
way. Little self-will run riot.
Yes.
Okay.
So my mom and I won't even say your mom because she wasn't your mom at the time, but even what the fuck, our mom and my dad. That sounds weird, but you know what I mean.
Right.
They got divorced when I was 8, I think, and Kathy would have been 10. So 77, I think 76, 77 is when they got divorced.
Right.
And at that time, I mean, yeah, my dad got sober in 81. So you figure he had another 4 years in his run. He was a fucking mess. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But as a family, we used to go camping. And that's when my dad got the bus and we did it in a camper. We did all that stuff. So somehow in the divorce, my dad got the bus. We still went camping. He ended up with a permanent.
Your mom didn't want the bus?
You know what? I actually I just thought about that, and I'm like, knowing how vindictive the two of them were at that time frame, I wouldn't be surprised if she tried to fight for it to fuck with him. Because now Uncle John was her attorney also. So
right.
You get the brother of the person going through the divorce. They were doing whatever they could, I'm sure, back and forth to try to fuck each other. So anyhow, and my dad had a killer attorney too. I know that. So yeah, Dad got the bus. We used to go camping with him, and the first time I remember him allowing me, I'm sure he did the kids sitting on the lap, that sort of thing, steer, whatever. But at this campground that we were at, and at the time he had like a 1977 Monte Carlo, and you remember
nice.
Big old fucking cars with a hood. There was about half a football field long.
My mom had a 74 or 5, so yep.
Okay, yeah, you know the body style. It's
do.
Actually nice looking cars,
Hell yeah.
But still, big cars, bench seats, the whole bit. So he used to let me in. I had to have been maybe 9 years old. Okay. He would let me drive his Monte Carlo in the campground. Okay. Now, however it was, I remember he had me sitting on something, but like tiptoes to the gas and the brake. But he let me sit in the seat and drive. He was in the car with me, but from the campground down these dirt roads or whatever.
Right.
And then he went ahead and he bought a 1978 Lincoln Continental Mark V, which again, sweet, dark blue, tan interior, was fucking beautiful. That's the one where he had the CB radio, where it was just the microphone with all the buttons on it. It came standard with a CB radio and an 8-track player. 1978, kids. But this car was fucking amazing. It was beautiful. like his dream car, right?
Right.
And this was the first car that I can remember that I was in that had that. It had the 6-way power seat, forward,
Mhm.
backup, all this different stuff,
Right.
plus tilt steering wheel and telescopic. Okay,
Mhm.
so he let me drive that car now, and I could actually
Mm.
fit. I was
Right.
10. No shit, I was 10. Okay. So little did I know. Kathy knew. She's a couple years older than me. But the first couple of times he let me drive, it was on the streets, and he was drunk. I didn't know that because I was too
Mhm.
young. But Kathy knew because she used to always say, "Do you want to drive to her?" And she's like, "No, no, no." But so he let me drive because he was too drunk when we were staying with him, for the visitation, whatever.
Right.
And then the one time, because we moved to Pittsburgh, Mom moved to Pittsburgh for a job with General Electric, so Pittsburgh to Cleveland is what, 2 hours, hour
Mhm.
and a half?
Yeah. A couple
Okay.
hours.
And straight turnpike all the way,
Right.
but he was, and again, I know this now, but I didn't know this then. The one time driving us back on whatever the end of the weekend on a Sunday was, he was way too drunk to drive. He was seeing somebody at the time, this lady, Diane. She didn't
Mhm.
have a driver's license. So I literally, no shit, I drove from Cleveland to Pittsburgh. Him in the car, Kathy in the car, and his woman in the car. So yeah, I'm driving down the fucking turnpike. He's got his CB on. These truckers are going, "How old is that kid?" and whatever. And he's I got cruise control, the whole bit. I drove his fucking Lincoln again, not by myself, but
Mhm.
yeah, I drove the
Yeah.
Lincoln from Cleveland to Pittsburgh when I was 10 years old.
Nice.
Yeah. And as I thought about it, the reason I put it on the sheet, I'm like, did I ever talk about this with you? And clearly I have not.
No.
Yeah. So,
Well, I mean, at least he was keeping it safe. She didn't have a driver's license, so let the 10-year-old boy drive.
but okay, think about that now. I mean, I don't have anyone in my life right now that's 10, but I remember when I got sober,
Right.
when we got sober, Derek was 9,
Mhm. Right.
and so basically a year after that, that kid driving around my car.
Mm.
I mean, I'm just anyone out there that has a 10-year-old, go ahead, let that 10-year-old sit in your car and then think
Right.
about that. Drive anywhere on the highway for 2 hours. And I still can't believe I remember we pulled into a rest area, and
Mhm.
there's like guardrails, and so I had to turn and then go through, and it was at least 2 car lengths I could go through. But
Right.
again, I'm fucking 10,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting there trying to navigate going through there so I don't scratch his car. And he's like, "You're fine, you're fine." And to me, I think I've got the space of about a car, a width of a car to get through, and I had plenty. But yeah, I just remember it. It was like we were like half hour away, and I think that's the rest area we pulled into because that's when he obviously drove us the rest of the way. But
Right.
he got
We
time to
can't
slow.
have you pull into your mom's driveway.
Right.
All right, boy, time to switch. I sobered up a little bit, and we can go the rest of the way now.
Well, and here's the fucked up thing, and at that time, and
Here's the fucked up thing.
okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, wait a second. I'm gonna get to the fucked up part now.
Okay. All right.
No, let me take that back. One of the other fucked one of the other fucked up things about this whole thing with my dad was, and again, this is I don't know why it would have made a difference because it was again the late 70s, but
Mm,
he would pick us up, and mom knew he was drunk, but
right.
she couldn't stop him
Yeah.
from the visitation type of thing, but she knew he was drinking.
Mhm.
I mean, fuck, we didn't know that,
Right.
but and he was adamant. He's just like, he was so pissed when they moved to to when we moved to Pittsburgh. And
Mhm.
you know what, same thing, going back to my story about coming back and forth to Madison to see Derek, and then how I used to get pissed having
Uh-huh.
to drive up to Appleton. I'm like, fuck, man, I was him. I
Right.
mean, being all pissed off and stuff like that, like he was. But yeah, I mean, he just fucking get drunk, and I'm sure he drank on the way up. I mean, why wouldn't
Sure.
he?
Well, yeah, right. We did.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but it is still kind of funny. So wait, here's the fucked up part. Yeah, the fact that a 10-year-old drove a Lincoln from Cleveland, Ohio to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's that's not the fucked up part. Wait, here's the good part.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You know what? It's one of those things where, and I suppose, I mean, somebody someplace, I'm sure, would probably think That's so traumatic. It wasn't fucking traumatic. It was fucking fun.
Oh God, yeah. Right.
I mean, I didn't know he was drunk. He wasn't beating me and making me drive his car. He's just
Yeah.
like, here,
Yeah.
son.
Here, son, take this beautiful machine out onto the interstate.
Yeah, we're gonna all be with you too, so it's okay.
Yeah, right. Good
It's all
fucking
right.
times, man.
Oh man, yeah. So it was. I don't know. It's again. Happy Father's Day, everyone. here's the thing. It's kind of like the meme that says, are you having a bad day that you shit yourself? Things are going okay.
Right.
Are you having a bad day that you let your 10-year-old drive your car today? If you didn't, you're doing okay as a sober
You're doing all right.
person.
Yeah.
You're doing okay today, but I don't fucking know. I think that's all. I'm sure I got more shit on here, but I think we pushed a good amount of minutes here. Unless what else
Absolutely.
you got anything
Nah,
else? Anything
I
else?
got nothing, man. I was like, I'm going to top that.
Yeah, it was fucking weird when I get done, working at 3:00, and you and I usually record an hour earlier. We just haven't had a guest in a while. Well,
Right.
Gary started early with us,
Yeah.
and it was just weird. I was sitting around like, what the fuck do I do? I took a walk. I start getting some of the episode things set up and stuff. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do with myself for this extra hour. So, yeah, it's weird, but it was nice. So yeah, I mean, thank you again to John. I mean, we appreciate you being on here, and hopefully, Elise, hopefully you can use some of this fucking garbage and
good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Good luck. So yeah, whatever. And hey, this episode once again was brought to you by Zencaster.
It was, because this shit's actually working.
Oh, it is fucking great, and we're paying for it now too. So we're committed. I have not well. We probably should be committed, but we have committed ourselves to Zencaster with actual money. So this is our thing, and I haven't contacted Riverside yet, but I'm going to. I'm going to send them a message and say, "Fucking pay me."
Yeah, right. Fuck you, pay me.
Yeah, fuck you, pay me.
Get your shine box, boy.
Yeah. All right. On that note, are you ready yet?
I am ready. Well, thank you everyone for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. We want to thank John for coming on. Don't forget to check out his podcast, Sober Speak. And yeah, man, the usual crapola. Go out, do something nice for somebody this week, and don't tell anybody about it. You know what? It's been a week and a half this week, and I'm fucking done. So guess what, kids? It's time. It's time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off till you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.
That's the let's get the fuck out of here ending.
That is.
All right, man. Well, I'm not going to add any banter. I'm just going to say, you know what, brother? I love you.
I love you too.
And we'll talk soon.
We shall.
Bye.
Bye. And now it is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.